If you've ever waited for a reply that never came and felt your chest tighten, this video will help you understand why. When that message sits unanswered, your mind doesn't just wait. It races. You notice the time, you check the screen, your stomach twists. You feel a mix of panic, sadness, and anger. You wonder, did I say something wrong? Did I upset them? Are they pulling away? And instead of focusing on your day, you're stuck in a spiral that feels impossible to stop. Even your body reacts. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles tense. Maybe you can't concentrate on work or even enjoy a simple meal. I'm a psychologist who helps women understand and heal anxious attachment in relationships. I want you to know this reaction is not about being too much or crazy. It's a real learned pattern that has roots in how your brain and nervous system were shaped long before you started dating. Here's what happens. When someone doesn't respond, your brain interprets that gap as danger. For someone with anxious attachment, silence doesn't feel neutral. It feels like rejection. Your mind starts filling in the blanks, usually with the worst possible story. That's because your attachment system is wired to stay hyper alert to signs of disconnection. It's like a smoke alarm that goes off at the faintest hint of smoke, even when there's no real fire. And the waiting, that makes it worse. Every minute that ticks by gives your imagination more space to create scenarios. Maybe they're losing interest. Maybe they're with someone else. Maybe they just don't care. Even though another possibility is that they're in a meeting or driving or simply forgot to charge their phone. But when your nervous system is on high alert, logic doesn't feel strong enough to calm it down. This is why you reread your own texts over and over. This is why you wonder if you sounded needy, if you added too many emojis, if you should have waited longer to respond. You can feel ashamed for caring so much, and at the same time feel powerless to stop caring. That inner conflict adds to the anxiety. I want to pause here and ask you something. Do you ever catch yourself scrolling back through old conversations just to reassure yourself? Share below in the comments, because if you do, you are not alone. The truth is, your brain is trying to protect you. Anxious attachment is a survival strategy. Somewhere along the way, you learned that love could be inconsistent. Sometimes it was there, sometimes it wasn't. So your nervous system decided the best way to stay safe was to pay close attention, hold on tight, and never let signs of distance go unnoticed. That worked when you were little, but in adult relationships it feels exhausting. Instead of helping, it steals your peace. And this is why even a 3-hour pause on a text can feel unbearable. It's not really about the message. It's about what your brain believes the silence means. It tells you the connection is at risk. It tells you you're about to be abandoned. That thought sends your body into fight or flight mode. Your heart rate goes up, your mind won't stop spinning, and you feel trapped between wanting to text again and fearing that texting again will push them away. When you understand this, it starts to make sense why you can feel fine one moment and then completely overwhelmed the next. The spiral isn't random. It's your attachment system activating, and when it activates, it colors the way you see everything. What's really a neutral delay looks like rejection. A busy day on their end feels like proof they don't care. Your brain is trying to solve a puzzle that isn't actually there. What matters now is learning how to recognize these patterns before they pull you under. You can't change what you don't notice. And once you see the signs of anxious attachment showing up in your texting habits, you can begin to work with them instead of against them. That awareness is the first step toward calming the spiral and finding a steadier way to connect. When you start to see what's really happening in those moments of silence, it becomes easier to notice the patterns in your own texting. Awareness is powerful. Once you catch the behaviors as they show up, you can begin to gently change them, One common sign is rereading your own messages again and again. You hit send, then go back and scroll through the thread. You look at your last line 5, 10, maybe even 20 times. Maybe you wonder if you sounded too short. Maybe you ask yourself if the emoji was too much or not enough. Your brain keeps pulling you back to those words, like checking them again will change the outcome. Another sign is overanalyzing the time between texts. You notice exactly how many minutes passed before the last reply. If it was 10 minutes yesterday, but today it's an hour, you start to worry. Maybe something shifted. Maybe they're not as interested anymore. You compare the timing of responses like it's a math problem you have to solve, and every gap feels bigger than it really is. Sometimes this looks like sending extra messages when you feel ignored. At first, it might be light, just a, "Hey, are you busy?" But when there's still no answer, the texts can pile up. You try to sound casual, but underneath, you're asking for reassurance. Deep down, you just want to know they haven't forgotten you. The longer the silence, the more urgent the need feels. Here's another thing that happens. You start building stories in your mind. If your partner doesn't answer until late at night, you imagine all the reasons why. Maybe they're upset. Maybe they're with someone else. Maybe they don't care. Your heart races, even though you don't have proof of any of it. The story takes over, and it feels real in your body. Think about this scenario. It's 8:15 p.m. You send a sweet message, maybe something like, "Hope you made it. Home safe." By 9:30, there's no reply. You open the chat 3 times. By 10:15, you're staring at the screen, checking if they've been online. By 11, your chest feels heavy, and you're fighting the urge to send another text, just so you can breathe again. Or picture this. It's Saturday afternoon. You send, "Want to grab coffee later?" 2 hours pass, and you haven't heard back. Your mind races. Are they mad? Did they see someone else? Should you make other plans, or just wait? By the time they finally reply, "Sorry, I was at the gym," you've already gone through a storm of worry that left you drained. Here's another example. You text something funny in the morning, like a meme or a silly joke. At first, you feel excited, imagining their laugh, but when there's no reaction for hours, your mood crashes. By lunchtime, you've convinced yourself they didn't find it funny. You feel embarrassed, maybe even regret sending it. What was lighthearted becomes a source of shame. One more. You wake up and see that your late-night message has only 1 gray check mark, not 2. Panic hits. Did they block you? Did their phone die? Are they mad at you for something you don't remember? You check the app over and over, as if refreshing will bring relief. But the knot in your stomach only grows tighter. If any of these sound familiar, you're not alone. These behaviors are so common with anxious attachment. They come from a deep need to feel close, safe, and wanted. But here's the tough part. When these patterns show up again and again, they can put strain on the relationship. Think about how it feels from the other side. When texts keep coming one after another, your partner may feel pressure instead of connection. If you ask often, "Are you upset?" they may start pulling away, even if they weren't upset at all. The energy shifts from natural conversation to constant checking. What started as a need for closeness can end up creating distance. This doesn't mean you're doing something wrong or that you don't deserve love. It just means your attachment system is overworking and it's showing up in your texts. The good news is that once you can recognize these behaviors, you can start to make small shifts that bring more calm and balance into your relationships. If you've ever done this while waiting for a text, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Awareness is the doorway to change. When you can name the signs, rereading your messages, tracking response times, sending extra texts, and spinning stories, you take the first step in breaking the cycle. And once you start breaking the cycle, you open up space for healthier ways to connect. ones that don't leave you drained or second-guessing yourself. This is where solutions begin. Simple tools, small shifts in how you respond to the silence can slowly rewire how your body and mind react. You don't have to feel hostage to the spiral. You can learn new ways to soothe yourself, new ways to trust connection, even in the pauses. And that's where we're headed next. Before you go, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Together, we'll help you move from anxious spirals to steady, healthy love. When you start to notice those anxious patterns, it can feel heavy. But here's the hope. You're not stuck with them. You can learn new ways to text and connect that feel calm, steady, and safe. The very same phone that pulls you into spirals can also become a tool for secure connection when you shift how you use it. Let's look at the difference. With anxious attachment, a 3-hour pause feels like rejection. You reread your messages, check the screen, and send another text for reassurance. With secure attachment, the same pause is handled with more trust. You notice the silence, but you tell yourself, they're probably busy. I'll focus on my day until they reply. See the contrast? It's not about ignoring your feelings. It's about giving yourself space to feel safe, even in the waiting. Instead of sending 5 follow-ups, secure texting might look like sending one clear message and then letting it be. For example, you write, "Hope your meeting goes well, talk later." Then you set your phone down. You don't chase their reply. You trust it will come. That trust doesn't mean you don't care. It means you believe the connection is still there without constant proof. Here's another contrast. Anxious texting often means writing long explanations or apologies when you don't get a quick reply. Secure texting means keeping your messages simple, honest, and calm. You say what you mean without over-explaining. You share your thoughts, then give space for theirs. It feels lighter, less like walking on eggshells. The good news is this shift isn't magic. It's practice. Every time you notice the spiral, you have a chance to pause, breathe, and choose a different action. Even small changes matter. Think of it like building a muscle. The more you practice secure habits, the stronger they become. So what are some steps you can try right now? First, practice the pause. When you feel that urge to send another text, put your phone down for 10 minutes. In those 10 minutes, do something that soothes you. Make tea, stretch, or step outside. Giving yourself that break calms your body so your mind can slow down. Second, talk back to the anxious story in your head. When your brain says, "They're ignoring me," answer with, "There could be 10 other reasons. I don't know the full story yet." This doesn't erase your feelings, but it gives you balance. You remind yourself that silence doesn't always mean rejection. Sometimes it just means life is happening. Third, fill the waiting with your own life. Instead of staring at the screen, do something that connects you to yourself. Call a friend, listen to music, cook a meal, or even read a few pages of a book. The more you give energy to your own world, the less power the waiting has over you. Here's what changes when you try these steps. Instead of feeling trapped by your phone, you start to feel more free. Instead of waiting for their reply to decide your mood, you find ways to steady your mood yourself. Instead of spiraling into panic, you practice self-trust. And over time, that self-trust turns into secure attachment. The truth is, anxious attachment can heal. You're not broken. You just learned a survival pattern that worked once but doesn't serve you now. With awareness, practice, and compassion for yourself, you can teach your brain and body new ways to feel safe in love. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Imagine how it would feel to see 3 hours go by and think, "They'll answer when they can. I'm okay right now." Imagine sending a text without replaying it in your head 20 times. Imagine trusting that you are worthy of love without proof in every message. That calm is possible for you, and you deserve it. If this video helped you, let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt this way when waiting for a reply? I'd love to hear your story. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because on this channel, we talk about the real psychology behind relationships. I don't want you to miss the next video, where I'll show you how to communicate your needs without feeling clingy.